Hi, so facial sunblocks. I'm worried I'm going to start ranting now and never stop. They drive me round the bend, facial sunblock. When I say block, I mean an SPF of 30 or more. That's the guideline. Most facial sunblocks are 30 or 50. Either is fine. There are many experts that say if you go anything over 30, you're not doing anything extra, that 30 is sufficient. There's no difference between 30 and 50. There are some who disagree with that, but in general 30 is about right. The reason I can't stand facial sunblocks is that we absolutely have to have them. We need them. I'm never without one in the summer months. In the winter months, I tend to just wear a moisturiser with an SPF of 15 or 20 in it, and I think that's generally sufficient. But pretty much as soon as the sun comes out, kind of end of March, beginning of April, I switch over to a facial sunblock. I have tried so many facial sunblocks over the years, and so many of them are maddening. The reason I don't like so many of them is that, number one, they make my eyes water. And I'm somebody who, believe it or not, generally doesn't use an eye cream. I usually just use my moisturiser all over my eyes, and I can't do that with sunblock, so that's irritating. And secondly, the most irritating thing about facial sunblocks is that so many of them make your peel off as you put your makeup on. So as you massage in your foundation over the top, or concealer or whatever, it just kind of bobbles away like Pritt stick almost. You know when Pritt stick dries and then you rub it away and it just kind of comes off in bobbles. That drives me mad, and it seems to be something that can happen with a 70 quid facial sunblock or one that's sort of £7 or £8. So all of the ones I tested in the column didn't do that. So all the ones I recommend, not the ones I tested, the ones I recommended from those I tested didn't do that. So hopefully you can rely on that list if you found that that's a problem for you. If you have found that allergies are a problem for you, like the eye watering or itching, allergy to sunblock, to chemical sunscreen is quite common, in which case you need what's called, or what's referred to as, a natural sunblock. And a natural sunblock is a sunblock that doesn't use chemicals to absorb rays. It uses natural minerals to deflect rays, so minerals like titanium dioxide or zinc. I'm not especially keen on those because they seem to almost always change the colour of your skin, make it kind of look chalky or purpley or white or something. It's not ideal. However, if you do have sensitive skin, those are the way to go, and they do seem to be getting slightly better. This one here by Neal's Yard is a mineral sunblock. Liz Earle also does a mineral sunblock, which is quite nice. Goes on in the same way as a normal sunblock, but works in a different way. It sort of deflects. If you see there what I mean, it's just quite white. So you would have to apply sort of quite a warming foundation and bronzer over the top. But look, if you rub it enough, it kind of does sink in and gives you a bit of a glow, and crucially doesn't rub off. Look, the more you do that, it still doesn't rub off. The reason that sunblock is so important is obviously that it protects our skin as much as possible against aging and skin cancers, which is why it's so important when you choose a sunblock that you choose one that protects against both UVA and UVB rays. Believe it or not, legally something's allowed to call itself a sunblock if it only protects against UVB. But especially from a beauty point of view, to protect against both is crucial. In short, in very sort of loose terms, UVA rays age the skin. They damage the skin beneath the surface, causing deep wrinkles and long-term sun damage. UVB rays damage the outside of the skin in the form of sunburn, freckles, melanoma on a much more sort of serious level, and most skin cancers. There are now some dermatologists saying that UVA can also cause some skin cancers, but either way you definitely need protection against both if you're worried about aging of the skin. You also need to avoid sunbeds, because I recently learned that sunbeds expose the skin to 12 times more UVA rays, which is the aging rays, than natural sunlight. So if you are a user of sunbeds. Well, I think you're crackers, but I mean, that's definitely something to think about. So to remember, it's a really easy way of remembering: UVA for aging, UVB for burning. You obviously don't want either, so you need one that protects against both. So make sure it's not just protecting against UVB. Lots and lots of cheaper sunscreens just protect against UVB. However, all of the Boots ones protect against both. And I believe all the Superdrug ones do too. So it's by no means an exclusively expensive privilege to protect against both. Now, one of the big problems that dermatologists have highlighted when it comes to the use of sunblocks is that people don't put enough on. You really do want to put plenty on. So say you're taking your factor 50, you want about that much for your face, which may seem like tons, and it may seem really off-putting because lots of people find sunblocks very greasy. Now, the way I get around this, I've had lots of questions about this. Oh, sunblock makes my skin so greasy, it makes it break out. I have really dry and dehydrated skin, but when I'm using a facial sunblock, I skip moisturiser altogether, and believe me, it's enough. I put my serum on first to tackle any other skincare concerns, then I put an SPF of 30 or 50 over the top. At the moment I'm using Shiseido and Creme de la Mer, both of which feature in the column. They're both brilliant, but I just put them on straight over my serum and then my foundation over the top, and I find that that's enough moisture. Especially in this kind of heat and humidity, it's kind of giving your skin some extra moisture anyway because you're kind of perspiring and stuff, that you should be fine with just a serum and a sunblock. If you do both, I think you're sort of asking for trouble. Your makeup's going to start moving, your pores are going to get clogged, and you're probably going to break out. You don't need a moisturiser as well, unless it's terribly uncomfortable for you to go without, but try it without. You probably want that much for your whole face, which is why it's so important that you choose a sunblock that blends well, that doesn't start rubbing off into little balls, because you really, really, really need to massage it in. I would take it right down to your neck and to the back of your neck, especially if you wear your hair in a ponytail. And you need to do it a good, experts think you need to do it a good 20 minutes before you leave the house. So as soon as you get out of the shower, pop your serum on, pop your sunblock over the top, wait a couple of minutes, put your makeup on, and by the time you've got all that done and got dressed and everything, you should be fine. You're not supposed to put on, sort of close the stable door after the horse is bolted. So if you're halfway through the hot day and you think, oh, I should have protected myself, and you put sunblock on, that's not considered the done thing. However, I would personally say it's definitely better than nothing, but you really should remember to put it on first. Now, if that's still too rich for you to go from serum to sunblock, choose an oil-free sunblock that's not going to clog your pores and that's going to make makeup stick to it. Like this one from MAC is oil-free. And the lack of oil there will feel more comfortable on oily skin. And this is a really nice one. This one tested very well as well. And especially if you're a user of oil-free makeup, you'll find that those two consistencies will be more complementary to one another anyway. Finally, if the eye-watering thing, if you still can't find a sunblock that doesn't cause your eyes to water, because it is a really common thing, brilliantly, there are now a number of eye creams with SPF in, which are designed specifically for this purpose. Avon does a really good one, Ole Henriksen does one, Carita does one. Generally, they're just an SPF 15, and I think this is probably because a higher SPF will cause irritation. But if you're wearing sunglasses all day, you'll probably be okay with a 15. Then, when you're choosing your sunblock, if this bobbling thing is an issue for you, which it is for me, just put a little on your hand in the department store. Walk out of the department store or the chemist or whatever and leave it for about 20 minutes to fully dry. Then once it's dry, just do that over and over and over and over again. And if it starts peeling off in little bobbles, that's what it's going to do when you put your makeup on, and just absolutely avoid it. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme nor reason with the price tags when this happens. This can happen with an expensive one or a cheap one. But for the most part, sunblocks just are expensive, whether you buy them from Boots or you buy them from Clinique or wherever. There's not really that much of a difference in price. So just shop around and get the one that's best for your skin. It really is the most important part of your summer skincare routine, so it's really important to get the right one. So you've seen my 6 favourites. Do let us know in the comments section which are yours. Thanks.